So on Tuesday, I came out with a post entitled, "For Lo, the Winter is Past, an Agrarian View of Seasonality." In it, I argue that judging life by seasons is far better than judging it by days, where judging life by seasons, it's natural, it's necessary, and is good for happiness, peace, and contentment. That's kind of the summary of it. But kind of to expand on those thoughts, generally speaking, on why is it's better to view things in an agrarian lens than in an industrial lens. So you have the Industrial Revolution come in the late 19th century, changed everything about the Western life and in the landscape. People started to commute longer hours. People started to work longer hours. The way the food was prepared became differently. The family structure was immediately changed, where women did work outside the home, but they never worked outside the home like this. The children started to work in these conditions. The machines started to do people harm, as expected, and trying to maximize productivity and the sacred God efficiency, right? Trying to become more efficient we can make more widgets this way than we did before. Just trying to streamline everything. And the agrarians started to be under attack and pushed to the side because they didn't make as much money as the industrialists started to make. Well, it's a philosophy difference, where is how do you use a tool? Is man in service to the tool, or is man supposed to use a tool? Is the tool supposed to be used in as much as it can make as many dollars as it could possibly make, or is it supposed to be used up until a point? These are philosophy differences. So, why should you view things in an agrarian sense? Well, first of all, it comes from an understanding that man is from the dust. Man has a relation to the dust. It's where he came from. In the beginning, God created man, Adam, out of the dust. That's how he's formed, was from the ground. His first task was to tend to the garden, was to have dominion over the earth, to have control over the animals and the plants and every creeping thing on the earth. So he has a relation to the earth. It's natural. That's the first point, is that it's natural. Man must have a relation to the earth, a connection. When you have an industrial society, an industrial perspective, it removes the object of nature. It removes nature from man and replaces it with a machine. It replaces it with steel. So man is now in subject to machine in an industrial society. Man's purpose is to make sure that the machine keeps on doing what it's doing. Man, in their eyes, was made for the machine. It has no relation to nature. We must conquer nature. We must cut it down, till it up, break it, destroy it, pour concrete over it, make a parking lot, and make as much money as possible. That's the end point of industrialism. But when you have agrarianism, you understand who you are as a human being. You came from somewhere. In an industrial society, you came from nowhere. But from an agrarian society, an agrarian perspective, you came from the dirt. This is not foreign land to you. Nature is not foreign to you. From the downstream of the Industrial Revolution, where we are now, are people going outside as much as they used to? Or are they going outside less? Right? It has consequences. An agrarian perspective, does not put you inside. An agrarian perspective helps you be connected to where your first father came from the dirt. And the second benefit to being agrarian is that it keeps you humble. When you know where you come from, and you can recognize by touching something that you have limitations, it keeps you humble. You can go out into nature and see that there are limitations. Trees don't work like machines. Trees have limitations. And all the other plants and animals and creeping things, they have limitations. Where they come and they go. They can't do everything. They don't have a constancy that machines do. They have limitations. They work and they rest. They work and they rest. Now, that was the point I was trying to make in my article. Was there's a time to work, certainly, but there's also a time to rest. Human beings have limitations. They can't always work constantly. And a point I tried to also make in the article was there's a seasonality, but I can't define it for you. You have to be the one to recognize the seasonality. Agrarianism is good. Agrarianism helps you be grounded. Whereas a machine culture wants you to maximize the day, make it as great as possible. But from day to day, you won't have the same results. Because not every day is different. Not every day is the same. That's the problem with this industrial mindset, is that they treat the days as the constant, not a variable, where they want the same results day to day. You have the same inputs and get the same outputs. But that's not possible. Where you set yourself up for disappointment and discontentment because you don't get the results that you were striving for, because it doesn't work that way. You have to view things in terms of seasons, where from day to day, it's not going to be the same. But when you step back and you look at past 3 months, you have a better perspective of it all than you did if you were just viewing one day at a time. Where if you have a bad day and you're an industrialist, it's the end of the world. But if you're an agrarian, that's okay. Bad days happen. Bad days can happen in good seasons. That's okay. Agrarianism helps you be at peace. It gives you peace because it gives you perspective. It gives you peace because it shows you how things really work. It shows you that how the providence of God in nature works. How He created the world in seasons. Not, He created it in a span of a 24-hour day, right? But things have seasons to them. There's a time to be born, a time to die, a time to be joyful, and a time to mourn, right? It's Ecclesiastes 3. There's a seasonality to it all. So it gives you peace. So you can say on a bad day, this may last for this day or for a season, but it's not forever. And it helps maximize your joy, where if you recognize that nothing lasts forever, you have more joy because this happy day may end at midnight and it may last for a season, but I have to enjoy it. I have to bask in it. It gives you perspective of where you come from. It keeps you humble, and it keeps you peace. It keeps your peace, I should say. Agrarianism is good because agrarianism shows that human beings come from the dust and aren't that much different from it. It's just we have air flowing through our dust, right? We have breath. That's the difference. We're not just dust, but we're not far from it. We're not machines. We're creatures with limitations, with souls, with affections, with joys, and our hearts must be strengthened. Creatureliness is not a bad thing. Creatureliness shows our relation to our Creator. If you like that, then subscribe and share the episode. If you want to see more content like this, then head over to juniusbrutus.substack.com and subscribe for a free ebook in your email. All of this is to help you become a defender of the past and a preserver of the future.